The Stoic decision-making method for difficult choices. Every difficult decision arrives with the same uncomfortable question: what if I choose wrong? You may be deciding whether to leave a secure job, end a relationship, confront someone, move to a new city, take a risk, or walk away from a path you have followed for years. One option offers comfort but may create regret. Another promises growth but brings fear. Most people respond by overthinking. They replay every outcome, ask too many people for advice, and wait for certainty that never comes. The Stoics did not try to predict the future perfectly. They tried to make the most reasonable and honorable choice available, then accepted whatever followed. Stoic decision-making is not about becoming emotionless. It is about preventing fear, desire, pride, and social pressure from controlling your judgment. It offers a path from confusion to clarity, even when no option feels safe. Here is the Stoic method for making difficult choices. Step 1. Separate what you control from what you do not. The first question is not, which choice guarantees the best outcome? No choice can guarantee that. The first question is, what part of this situation is under my control? Epictetus taught that some things are up to us and others are not. Your judgments, intentions, values, effort, and actions are within your control. Other people's reactions, future events, luck, reputation, and final outcomes are not fully yours to command. When you confuse these categories, anxiety grows. You begin searching for a decision that removes all risk. But difficult choices involve uncertainty by definition. The Stoic approach is to judge a decision by the reasoning and character behind it, not only by the outcome. A wise decision can produce an unfortunate result. A foolish decision can succeed through luck. Ask yourself, what can I choose here? What must I accept? What am I trying to control that does not belong to me? Step 2. Remove the emotional story. Facts are often simple. The stories we attach to them create confusion. A rejected promotion is a fact. My career is over and nobody respects me, is an emotional story. The Stoics taught that events do not disturb us as much as our judgments about them. This does not mean painful events are meaningless. It means our first interpretation is not always accurate. When facing a hard choice, write down the situation in neutral language. Remove exaggeration, prediction, blame, and drama. Instead of saying, if I leave this job, I could destroy my future, say, if I leave, I will lose a stable salary and enter a period of uncertainty. Neutral language creates space between you and your fear. Ask, what are the facts? What assumptions am I making? Which parts of my story can I prove? Clarity begins when description replaces drama. Step 3. Test the choice against the 4 virtues. For the Stoics, the highest goal was not comfort, status, pleasure, or success. It was virtue, living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. These virtues create a powerful decision filter. Wisdom asks, which option reflects clear thinking and a realistic understanding of the situation? Courage asks, am I avoiding the right choice because it is uncomfortable or frightening? Justice asks, how will this affect other people? Am I being honest, fair, and responsible? Self-control asks, am I being driven by impulse, ego, anger, greed, or immediate relief? A difficult decision often becomes clearer when you stop asking, which option feels better, and start asking, which option allows me to act with better character? The Stoics did not believe virtue always produces an easy life. They believed it produces a life you can respect. The right answer may still be painful, but it will usually feel cleaner. Step 4. Use the view from above. When you are trapped inside a decision, everything feels enormous. The Stoics used a mental exercise sometimes called the view from above. They imagined rising beyond their situation and seeing life from a wider perspective. Ask 3 questions. How will I view this decision 1 year from now? How will I view it 10 years from now? What advice would I give someone I respect in the same situation? Distance weakens emotional distortion. What feels unbearable today may look temporary from the future. What feels convenient today may look like avoidance across a decade. Your fear is real, but it is one moment in a much larger story. Many decisions are not irreversible. Many failures are survivable. Many embarrassing moments are quickly forgotten. The view from above does not make your choice unimportant. It places it in proportion. Step 5. Practice negative visualization. The Stoics regularly imagined loss, difficulty, and disappointment. This was not pessimism. It was preparation. Before deciding, imagine that each option goes badly. Do not imagine impossible disasters. Imagine plausible difficulties. Then ask, could I handle this? What would I do next? What resources would I need? Fear becomes manageable when it has a shape. A vague threat feels infinite. A defined problem can be planned for. This exercise also reveals that not choosing has consequences. People compare the risks of action with the comfort of staying still. But inaction is also a decision, and it carries its own cost. The Stoic question is not, which path contains no pain. It is, which form of difficulty is worth accepting. Step 6. Decide according to principles, not mood. Your mood changes. Your principles should be more stable. One day you feel brave. The next day you feel doubtful. 1 hour you want freedom. The next hour you want security. If you make major choices according to your strongest emotion, you may repeatedly reverse direction. The Stoics built decisions around values chosen in advance. For example, I will not remain in situations that require dishonesty. I will not make permanent decisions in moments of rage. I will choose long-term character over short-term approval. Principles provide boundaries. Without them, every temptation becomes a debate and every fear becomes an argument. Ask, what principle is at stake? What kind of person have I decided to be? Would this choice strengthen or weaken that identity? Step 7. Set a deadline and act. Reflection is useful. Endless reflection is avoidance. At some point, more thinking stops producing clarity and starts feeding fear. You repeat the same arguments, search for new opinions, and imagine unlikely scenarios. You call it preparation, but it may be a refusal to accept uncertainty. The Stoic method ends with action. Set a reasonable deadline. Gather the information you genuinely need. Consult people who are wise, honest, and not invested in controlling your choice. Then decide. Once you have chosen, commit to the action. Do not reopen the decision every time discomfort appears. New evidence may justify reconsideration, but ordinary anxiety does not. Marcus Aurelius returned his attention to the task in front of him. Not the entire future. Not every possible consequence. The next right action. After the decision, ask, what is mine to do now? Then do it with discipline. Accept the outcome and learn. A Stoic decision is not a bargain with the universe. You do not say, I acted wisely, so everything must work out. You act wisely because wisdom is within your control. The result remains partly in the hands of circumstance. Many people suffer twice. First, the outcome disappoints them. Second, they attack themselves for not predicting it. But you are not responsible for knowing the unknowable. You are responsible for choosing as honestly and intelligently as you can with the information available. Afterward, review the decision without cruelty. What did you understand correctly? What did you miss? Were you guided by virtue or fear? What will you do differently next time? The Stoic ideal is not perfect decision-making. It is becoming the kind of person who can choose, endure the consequences, learn, and remain capable of acting well. A simple Stoic checklist. When you face a difficult choice, ask. What is within my control? What are the facts without the emotional story? Which option reflects wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. How will this look in 1 year or 10 years? What is the realistic worst case for each option? Which difficulty is worth accepting? What principle should guide me? What is the next action I can take? You may still feel afraid after answering these questions. That does not mean the method failed. Courage is not the disappearance of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more. The Stoics understood that life does not offer certainty. It offers opportunities to practice judgment, character, and acceptance. So when the next difficult choice appears, do not demand a perfect guarantee. Separate control from uncertainty. Remove the story. Choose according to virtue. Prepare for difficulty. Act with commitment. Then meet the outcome with dignity. You cannot control whether every decision leads where you hoped. But you can control whether the person making that decision is thoughtful, courageous, fair, and disciplined. And for the Stoics, that is where a good life begins.